Hey book friends, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to the video where I share with you all the books that I want to read before 2022 is over. And so I am doing the end of the year book tag. So I have some questions below. I honestly don't remember who started this, but I do know a lot of people make this video around this time of year, and I just like to think about the books that I want to finish out. So that is my plan for this video. So hi, my name is Angie. Welcome to the channel if you're new here, or welcome back if you have been coming for a while. So like I said, I am making the end of year book tag, and if you like these kinds of videos, please consider giving the video a thumbs up and subscribing to the channel if you want to. But let's just hop into all the questions, and I will have the questions all typed out down below in case you have a channel and you want to participate in this tag. Please do. It's a really fun one. So the first question is, are there any books that you have started this year that you really want to finish, or some version of that? So I typically finish books. I very rarely leave books kind of halfway, or else I just DNF them because I don't like them. Except for this one book. You guys, there's one book that I picked up and I have just been slogging through, and I'm not sure exactly what I think about that, but it is A Lawhon, Petal of the Sea by Isabel Allende. It's a beautifully written book, and I still have my bookmark in here, so I'm about 100 pages into it, and I'm not sure why I'm not reading it. So it is a historical fiction book about this family, really. It's about a family, or the set of sons, and this woman who marries one of the sons, how they deal with the Spanish Civil War, and they have to kind of flee Spain, like through France or something, over the mountains, and she is escorted by a family friend, I believe, and I believe they kind of have to pretend to be married or actually get married, and then they get on a boat to Argentina or Chile, and it goes from there. And I feel like the whole story is also about them wanting to get back to Spain. But I read the first chunk of this, and what I think was excellent so far is the writing style, the description of the war. I have read the Ruta Sepetys book, Fountains of Silence, that has to do with the Spanish Civil War, but I believe that was YA, honestly, and this isn't. It definitely focuses on more of the gory, challenging parts of when Franco just kind of took over. And so that part I actually thought was really interesting. I'm not sure what's holding me up on this, but I would like to finish it. I would like to just be in the right headspace for it. I feel like it's been a bit of a challenging year, to be honest. And so I just haven't been as much in the headspace to read historical fiction, or especially just really heartbreaking, heart-wrenching historical fiction novels. And so that's probably it, more than the actual book. But I want to finish it. So that's what I would say for that first question. And the second question is, do you have an autumnal book, or an autumn fall type book to transition you into the end of the year? So yes, I have a number of books that I want to pick up that are kind of fall books. And honestly, I typically make a fall TBR video, but I didn't this year, and I'm not reading a ton of my fall books. But this book is on my list, and it's a book that I'm planning on reading with my sister, and it's The Witch Haven by Sarah Peyton Smith. And so I think this one sounds really good. I'm not sure if it is also YA. Yeah, it probably is, because there's a 17-year-old main character. And it's about this girl who, like, her brother went missing or something like that. She's in, I believe, like New York City. Yes, 1911. So it's kind of a historical fantasy, which is right up my alley. But her brother goes missing, and then for some reason she gets like into an altercation with this man in an alley, and he ends up dead, and she is like responsible in some way. And then it sounds like she gets whisked away by somebody to this school. It's a school for witches, and she joins into that. And I don't know much more, but that hits upon a number of tropes that I really love. I love witchy based books, and I love school settings, and so I'm super excited to get to this one. So this is definitely an autumnal book for my TBR. Okay, as for the third question, it asks, is there a new release you're still waiting for? Oh, there's a couple. I was waiting for the newest Nevermore book, but that got pushed out. But I do have a couple of historical fiction books that I have heard about and that sound so good. The first one is kind of a spin-off of James Bond, and so it's a novel about like the real Miss Moneypenny. It's called One Woman's War. So I put up a picture here. It just sounds like kind of a historical spy novel, and so I really want to pick that up. And then there is a Susan Meissner book. Although there are 3 authors on this book, it sounds so good. So Ariel Lawhon, I love her writing. I love Susan Meissner, but the book is called When We Had Wings. It is about 3 women who were nurses during World War II, and oh my gosh, they had a specific name. I can't remember, like the Angels of Bataan or something like that. It just sounds so good. It reminds me of another book that focuses on the nurses during World War II. It has something to do with fire. I will put up a picture of that book if I can think about it, but I loved that book. And so I really like World War II stories that focus in on the point of view of the nurses. And so this one just sounds really good. I am a huge Susan Meissner fan, so I really want to get to this one. And so those are at least 2 books that are still on my radar for the rest of 2022. So let's move on. So the 4th question is, what are 3 books you want to read before the end of 2022? Oh my gosh, there's more than 3 books for sure. One book that came to mind right away is I want to read the 2nd Amari book. So Amari and the Night Brothers, I think it's Amari and the Great Game. It just came out. I put a hold on it at the library. So when I get that, I will read it. And I just really enjoyed the first one, where it focuses on the story of Amari, who has, again, lost her brother, another lost brother story. And in the process of trying to find her brother, she gets kind of whisked away to this magic school where she kind of develops a talent, I think it was in that book, and searches for her brother. And it's just really good. It was a really fun middle grade fantasy book that I enjoyed earlier this year, and so I'm looking forward to picking up the 2nd one in the series. As for 2 other books that I really want to get to, so this one is on my October TBR, so I'll link that above if you haven't seen it. My sister picked my TBR. It was really fun. She put this one on my list, and I'm super excited. It's Morning Star by Pierce Brown. It's the 3rd book in the Red Rising trilogy. I really have enjoyed this whole series. So I read Red Rising and Golden Sun, and this is the 3rd one. And they are science fiction novels that focus on the main character of Darrow, who lives on Mars, and Mars is set up in a class system of kind of colors, and red being the lowest and gold being the highest. And early on in Red Rising, something happens that really spurs Darrow on to fight back against the golds, to really upset the current system and release kind of the reds from slavery. And oh my gosh, it goes from there. So much happens in these books. It's pretty gruesome at times, but it is so interesting. And I feel like as science fiction goes, it feels like a pretty good beginner science fiction. Like, I didn't feel overwhelmed by too much going on out in space. It feels like it focuses a lot on the characters. So I am so excited to finish this book. So I really want to get to this before the end of 2022. And then as for a historical fiction book on my list that has just been calling out to me, because like I said, it's been a heck of a year for a variety of reasons, and I just haven't wanted to pick up some weightier books. But this one doesn't sound as weighty. Like, it's not World War II. Maybe that's why it sounds really good. But this is the book I want to read. So The Women of Chateau Lafayette by Stephanie Dray. And so this is just about a castle. It's a castle in France, but what I love about it is it's told during 3 different time frames. So 1774, 1914, and 1940. So during 3 important times, I believe French Revolution time, World War I, and World War II. And what I love about this book is that it focuses on the women of the castle, because during that time, mostly it's men defending the castle, but that's not the case with Chateau Lafayette. So I really want to pick this book up. I feel like it's going to be so good, and I'm going to love it. So that's another book. Those 3 are the books that I don't want to end 2022 without reading. And then the 5th question, is there still a book that I think could potentially shock me and become my new favorite of the year? So there's a couple that I still have on my list. One I'm actually currently reading, so this could go either way, but I'm surprised I'm loving it so much. And that's this book, so The Secret History by Donna Tartt. My sister put this on my October TBR. I've always wanted to read it. It's kind of a modern day classic, dark academia, all these things. I was like, I should read that. That sounds really interesting. Now I'm reading it and I'm like, this is so good. What are they going to do? So I feel like this could surprise me and become a favorite, or it could tank. I'm like halfway, so I'm not sure. A couple other books that I want to get to that I think could be favorites are these 2. So, well, this one first. So Crying in H Mart by Michelle Zauner. I believe this is a memoir about this woman who is losing her mother to cancer, and I believe it kind of tells the story of how that happens and then what happens in her life following the death of her mother. And it just sounds really impactful, and I've heard great things. So that's one that I feel like could be a favorite. if I'm able to emotionally handle that book, I'll pick it up. Another one is this one, The Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. So I heard about this from Chantel Reads All Day, and it just sounds so good. It's like a murder mystery club, like a group of senior citizens, I believe, in a retirement community that band together and solve mysteries. There's more books in this series, and I have just been wanting to pick it up and get into it. So those two books, 3 books actually, we'll see how those end up, if they end up being any favorites. I don't know, guys. I've had a pretty good reading year all in all, so I can't wait to make my favorites of 2022 list. Okay, last question is, have I started making any reading plans for 2023? Not really, but I have noticed a couple things about myself. So one, I enjoy making TBRs, and so I'm planning again on making my favorite booktubers' favorite books from 2022 and trying to read those in 2023. I've enjoyed that this year. I've hit most of them, not all of them, but it's been a really fun list to go through. So I'm planning on that. And then I also think 2023 is just going to be a year for book series. I have found that I get the most enjoyment and attachment from series where I just get to revisit the characters. I have been deep into like the Robin Hobb book series. I should be finishing up the 3rd book in the 2nd trilogy soon. So I've just been in that world and I have loved it. It's making me not want to pick up standalone books that are just books in and of themselves, even though I love those kinds of books. But I feel like I'm just kind of ready for a whole year of just a lot of series, I guess. That's what I'm feeling drawn to. But no actual plans, if you will. So those are my thoughts. Those are some of the books that'll get me to the end of the year. I can't believe it is already the end of 2022 and I'm making this video again, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see what the end of the year brings, and let me know down below if you have any books you are most excited about, books that you can't wait to pick up, that you hope to get to before the end of the year. Let me know down below. But otherwise, guys, that's what I have for this video. Like it if you liked it, and otherwise I will see you guys in the next book video. All right, take care.